Okay, welcome back. For this exercise in our employment verification series, we are going to be working on seasonal employment with a little bit of overtime. So let's get started. This is our resident pit bull, and we are going to be working on his 2013 annual recertification. So we've sent out to Hogs and Spitz, and as you can see by our fax strip, we've received it back. Everything's filled out perfectly on the top, because we filled it out, and we never leave blank lines, and we never leave any information off that we're supposed to. So we're just going to move right along to see how our employer did. All right, so it looks like he's a rodeo clown here at Hogs and Spitz. He is presently employed. His employer did forget to put that date first employed on the line. Even though we know that he worked there last year for the recertification, we're just going to go ahead and clarify anyway, because that's our policy, that's what we do. So let's just get started. Instead of taking notes this time, we're just going to start a clarification. This cuts out having to write things down 2 times and is a really good practice to get into. Going down the employment verification and just writing your clarification as you go, you won't have to take a second look ever if you just kind of follow this procedure that I'm going to show you. So we're going to ask the question, what was Pitt's first day of employment at Hogs and Spitz? Question mark. And that's it. Just very simple. Keep it simple. All right, so moving right along, it looks like he makes $10.50 hourly. And the average regular hours per week, our employer did put between 40 and 50. This is a very common mistake that our employers make because they don't understand or they're going fast on the clarification. So we are not asking for overtime here. We're asking the regular hours per week. And it looks like they included the overtime, and then they also doubled up again and let us know. And we can do the math and see exactly what they did, but we have to give them a call anyway. So let's just always keep our files consistent, clarify that really quick. Question is, how many regular hours does Pitt work per week? Very easy, 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 easy. Even though sometimes you see some of these and you think, oh, I have to clarify, most of the time it's very simple, just a simple phone call. All right, so let's move right along here. It looks like the overtime rate is $5.75 per hour, and he is getting between that 5 and 10 hour mark, which is what we talked about before. So when we do our worksheet, we're definitely going to use the 10 because we always maximize income for tax credit. All right, so it looks like for a shift differential, he put NA, so he was not as savvy as our previous employer. And in reading our FX cover sheet, we cannot accept NA, so we do have to further clarify this shift differential. So easy breezy, we will just ask the question, does Pitt receive a shift differential rate? Question mark. So the question is simple. Let's go back. Now, he did use none for commission tips and bonuses, so we can move along. Anticipated change in the rate of pay within the next 12 months, he also used none and none, so that's fantastic. If the employees work as seasonal or sporadic, please indicate the layoff period. So he did write that it was seasonal. Then he wrote works from May to September-ish. So this is one of our wonderful employers. This is some of the stuff that we see all the time, as you well know, where they'll either be vague or they'll put something like ish or, this obviously needs further clarification. There's so many different things that employers like to put on these. So we're just going to definitely add that to our list here. All right, so the question can be, what are the exact projected days Pitt will be working in the 2014 rodeo season. So I'm going to be really specific there. We are working here on a recertification. This is the 2013 recertification for October. So since we're projecting out the income for 1 year from this date, we will be looking at the 2014 rodeo season, because he works from May until September according to his employer. So that's going to put him right in that sweet spot for the 2013 cert. All right, so let's take a look here and see if there's anything else that we need. He did put none, great. So Bobby Joe did a pretty good job. Couple questions, no big deal. Filled out the rest of this, just fine without any blanks. The only other thing that I want to point out, there's another question that you should always ask for seasonal employment, and that is whether or not they're going to be eligible for unemployment benefits. So we are just going to go ahead and add that. Well, Pitt eligible for So what we're wondering here on the unemployment, since his season is going to go all the way to September and our recertification will be October 1st, we're actually wondering if he's receiving them now. So we're going to say during the off season, we're not going to put 2014 or 2013 in particular. We're just going to ask, will he? In fact, maybe we should change our question to, is Pitt eligible? That's a little bit better. I like it better. So sometimes as you're writing these questions, you do really just kind of have to think about what it is you're after, what time frame you're after, and how to frame those questions so that your employers will give you the answers that you're looking for. So is Pitt eligible for unemployment benefits during the off season? All right, great. So we are going to get an answer to these questions before we really can move any further on this. So we went ahead and we gave him a phone call. It looks like we checked here that we called Bobby Joe. So let's see what he had to say. So our first question was the first day of employment. He said May 1st, 2012. Great, that answers that, and we're done there. We just needed to make sure that he'd worked there for over 3 months. All right, so how many regular hours does Pitt work per week? The answer is Pitt is guaranteed 40 regular hours. After that, we pay overtime. Great, that's what we thought as well, but we just wanted to make sure that that is what the employer meant. Does Pitt receive a shift differential rate? No shift differential. His only job here is rodeo clown. All right, great. What are the exact projected days Pitt will be working in the 2014 rodeo season? All right, it says we always start on May 1st, but we can end any time in September depending on how many gigs we book, but we never go longer than September 30th. That's exactly what we were looking for. We may have asked an extra question in here to get that answer. You can word it that way if you want to. We needed to make sure that we knew he was going to be done by the end of September and not into October. So we included this in one answer. So either way is perfectly fine. We're going to maximize this income and go all the way then through September because that could happen. And we want to make sure that we're giving him all of the income that we possibly can to keep in compliance. So we'll check our last question. Is he eligible for unemployment benefits during the off season? No, he's not eligible for unemployment benefits during the off season. Great. So we're also going to have asked, Pitt the same questions, and he's also going to have filled out all of the application. We're going to see if he works, any other job during this off season. If he claims that he gets unemployment, just making sure that story lines up. We're not going to be going into all of that for this exercise because we're just working on this employment verification. But all of those things will also be something that you would go through. So, okay, so it looks like we are full May through September. So we are going to go to our calculator, our payroll calendar, excuse me. So this is how we're going to determine how many weeks he works every single year. You guys have probably seen this before, but I'm going to go over a quick tutorial on how we use it. So if your date falls Wednesday or further, then you're going to use the week on the right hand side. If your date falls Tuesday or prior, then you're going to use the date on the left hand side. Very simple. That's the only thing really that you have to remember. And it's right here at the top of the calendar. All right, so we're going to, the thing I like to do first is to just find my dates. So we're going from May 1st, and that is a Thursday. So I'm going to take a look at my rule here. If it's Wednesday or after, I'm going to use the right hand side. Great, so I'm going to circle week 18. Oops, my circle is not that great. That's okay, we understand what I'm doing here. All right, so we're going to start on week 18. Then he said they could go all the way through September. That is a Tuesday. So I'm going to take a look at my rules. Tuesday and prior, I'm going to go to the left hand side. All right, so go down to September. And that is week 39 because I'm going to go to the left-hand side. So now it's super easy because I'm going from week 18 to week 39. So we can just quickly do the math on that. And I'll do it here. I don't have a calculator here, but it's pretty easy math. So 39 minus 18. And it looks like, whoops, we are going to have ourselves 21 weeks. So that's it. That's how you can do the math. You can count if you would rather. You can go from week 18 and simply count all of the weeks if you feel more comfortable. Or you can do exactly what I did here with 39 minus 18. All right, so we have 21 weeks in which we have Pitbull participating as a rodeo clown. Wonderful, wonderful. Now the next thing you're going to need to do, OneSide is not equipped to do a calculation for seasonal employment, so we have to actually provide compliance with our own tape. This is available for you on SharePoint. You can use this if you want to, or you can do your own tape on your calculator. I prefer this because I love not being able to make a mistake. It makes me super happy. All right, so we have already determined that he does get that 40 hours per week, and his regular pay was $10.50 per hour. And his overtime hours per week, we were going to maximize that at 10 because our employer said between 5 and 10 here. So we're going to go ahead with that 10 just to make sure that we have maximized everything that we can. His pay per hour when he is working overtime is $15.75. And there was no shift differential. So here's where we need the extra component that we just figured out, which is the 21 weeks per year. And that puts him at $12,127.50 per year as a rodeo clown. All right, so then we just go to OneSide. We know everything that we need to know at this point. All right, so we're going to go straight to the Bull residence, and we're going to go straight to the financial tab. So he did work here last year at Hog and Spitz, which we knew. We always want to click on the effective date of change when we're editing something that was for the prior year. So this is already tied to the 2012 annual certification. We're going to go ahead and hit edit here. We're going to enter the new date of 10/1/2013. Always the next certification date. All of this is already filled in because we're editing, so that's very, very nice. And in this case, we are not going to need to use the income calculator because we're going to provide our own tape. The calculator doesn't have the capacity to do what we needed it to do. So we are going to put that $12,127.50 $1,227.50 right into the annual salary. We are going to save it, and we're going to use this Excel spreadsheet as the tape that we'll include with our package to compliance. Okay, great. So it is going to ask for that that letter. We know we can cancel it. We already have what we need. And now, this is the great part about using the edit button, is now it's put an end date to the prior certification at 9/30/13, and it starts a new one. It's not tied to a certification yet because we haven't completed it. It keeps everything nice and tidy. And that's it. So that is how you are going to calculate your seasonal income. I'm just going to kind of summarize really quickly. So we took a look at the employment verification. We went line by line, and as we did, we wrote down all of our clarification questions, which made it super easy to get this sent off. To make the phone call, ask the right questions because we'd already thought about all of the things that we needed. We got the right answers that we needed to proceed. Then we went to our payroll calendar, and we figured out that between weeks 18 and 39 is when he works as a rodeo clown, which equaled our 21 weeks. And then we took all of that information, and we put that into our seasonal employment calculator, which you guys have access to on SharePoint. That gave us our total that we needed. And from there, it was easy breezy to just go ahead and edit last year's for this year at our new total from our Excel spreadsheet at $12,127.50. And that's the end of seasonal employment. Great job.